Well, damn, another Nerd News Now update. It seems that when it rains, it pours, and Braun Strowman, as as well as Dakota Kai, have been released from WWE. Um, it's surprising they haven't been doing these big releases like for a while, and this is the second one I've heard of this afternoon. This information I got via Denise Salcedo's channel on YouTube, a great source for wrestling news. If you're not subscribed to Denise Salcedo, go check out her website. Braun Strowman is a guy who I've appreciated. The first time I really saw him was at a house show here in Casper, Wyoming. And outside of being just freakishly big, he is very athletic and a real character. He really got a lot of the out of the ring stuff with that comes with wrestling, as well as being a big guy, an entertaining guy. Um, I do not know what his future holds in professional wrestling. I know that he will not be hurting for work. He has experience in the strongman competitions. He has acting experience, and you would think somebody with his name recognition, size, and experience on a big stage would not be hurting for work. I think TNA Impact could be a landing spot for him if they can free up the money. He could go to Japan and be a modern day Stan Hansen or Vader. A lot of people they say that Japan is a place for the quote unquote super workers. But if you go back to the 90s and the 2000s, these big American bruisers would go over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, work with Antonio Inoki, and they would dominate. You go back to Stan Hansen, he was one of them. Terry Gordy, uh, Steve Williams, and Vader. You want to talk about more recent? Brock Lesnar was a guy. A lot of people they don't remember that Brock Lesnar went to New Japan Pro Wrestling before he went to the UFC, and he was a champion in New Japan. And I don't believe he actually. I'm I'm not sure if he dropped the title or not, but he was able to make money over there, and so that could be a very interesting landing spot for him. And I know that a lot of wrestling nerds will say that Braun Strowman doesn't have the work rate for AEW. But let me tell you, as an AEW fan, I think we can be a little bit snobbish with our views on pro wrestling. Not everybody needs to be a Kenny Omega. Sometimes you want to see big men doing big man stuff. And Braun Strowman does that as well as anybody. And Powerhouse Hobbs, when he gets in the ring, Lance Archer, when he gets in the ring, when you get these big fellas throwing each other around, and the crowd they start chanting meat, 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 and so don't try to pigeonhole him as AEW won't want him because he's not a super worker. Not everybody has to be a technical wizard. Sometimes you want a big guy to do big guy stuff, and in a well balanced wrestling company, you're gonna have your super workers and you're gonna have your attractions. And so I think that Braun Strowman could work very well in AEW. But that's just my supposition. That's just my thoughts off the top of my head, finding out this news. But the man will not be hurting for work. And yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see him in a Ring of Honor or AEW. Right now, I'm not even sure who the Ring of Honor champion is. Bandito. Yeah, so you can imagine him versus Bandito would be a fun match. A big guy versus a little, luchador. We've seen him work with smaller wrestlers before. But I'm gonna quit rambling. That's it for now. Hopefully, we don't see any more releases because it sucks when anybody loses their job. So I'll see you guys. Keep watching that wrestling. Keep collecting action figures. And stay tuned to this channel for more comic book reviews. I'll see you next time.